Eventually, in 1992, Babri Mosque structure was completely demolished by the Karsevaks. Quick reminder that Babur had erected a mosque after grazing a centuries-old Ram temple in 1528, and since then the believers of Lord Ram had limited or no access to offer their prayers. The CM of UP at that time, Kalyan Singh, resigned, and L.K. Advani, along with Uma Bharti and Murli Manohar Joshi, were charge-sheeted. One magical occurrence happened when the mosque walls were demolished. A stone inscription fell out, measuring 5 feet by 2 feet, that was recognized as the Vishnu Hari inscription, which, as per the Archaeological Survey of India, gave a description of the temple and the people involved in making or perhaps refurbishing it from the 12th century. In 1993, the center, under the capable leadership of P.V. Narasimha Rao, passed an act to acquire land in and around the disputed site in Ayodhya. This was contested in 1994 by one Ismail Faruqi, who filed a petition challenging the validity of the acquisition of the land by the government. The Supreme Court ruled that the mosque is not integral to Islam. It upheld the acquisition and declared that, quote, mosque is not an essential part of the practice of the religion of Islam, and namaz, that is prayer, by Muslims can be offered anywhere, even in the open. Accordingly, its acquisition is not prohibited by the provisions in the Constitution of India, end quote. All this led to the Allahabad High Court starting a hearing in April 2002 to adjudicate the ownership of the disputed site. A thorough search for proof by the court for the authenticity of the Ram temple paved the way for Ram Lalla to expand from the gentle consciousness of his believers into the cold, hard world of brick and mortar. Like in any riveting story, this story too had its share of heroes and villains. Villains were left-wing, communist, Marxist historians whose superpower is to maintain a stranglehold on intellectual discourses so as to steer any conversation towards communism. These villains were assisted by some wicked politicians and radical Islamic so-called leaders. The heroes were honest historians, archaeologists, Sanskrit scholars, fair-minded members of the judiciary, and believers of Lord Ram. From the beginning of the case, the leftist so-called historian villains took to spouting lies in the garb of historical facts. The first lie was that the concept of Lord Ram was too diluted to pinpoint the status of Lord Ram in the lives of a large expanse of Indian people, thereby implying that the fight for Lord Ram's temple was limited to a small fraction of people with a particular religious agenda. They further professed that Lord Ram's worship was an 18th or 19th century phenomena. Please notice the cleverness of their concoction. If Ram worship started at a time as per their understanding, then the fact that Lord Ram had a temple at the place of his birth and that he was prayed to by believers there over centuries loses all credibility. Then the fact that the Mughal invader Babur's commander Mir Baqi built the mosque by the demolition of Ram temple in 1528 becomes a bogus superfluous claim. Here, our heroes, the Sanskrit scholars, shared that Valmiki Ramayana was written several years before even the start of the Christian era. And it was deeply ingrained in the life of the Indian people to the extent that there were 25 versions of Ramayana and over 300 versions of vernacular Ramayana. It was commonly recited in public and it was recognized as a manual of morals, with Lord Ram holding the position of exemplar of Dharma. The hero historians then presented solid evidence. The first art depiction of Ramayana comes from the 2nd century BCE in the form of a terracotta, where the scene describes the abduction of Sita Maiya by Ravan. Another evidence to disprove the villains was a 2nd century AD seal found in Kashmir that had Ram Siya written on it. Also, a terracotta piece from the 3rd century that depicts Lord Ram with a quiver full of arrows and has his name written on him. When proved conclusively wrong on their lies, left historians came up with another set of lies, that the Babri Masjid was constructed on vacant land and that no structure whatsoever was demolished to make it. Therefore, no Hindus could have ever prayed there. Our authentic historians then presented facts. Persian, Arabic, Urdu books were cited from the 18th and 19th century. In his accounts, Abul Fazl, Akbar's historian, wrote that Ayodhya was the birthplace of Ram and therefore a sacred land. During Ram Navami, people came to Ayodhya to pay their respects. An episode from Akbar's time was also mentioned when in 1600 he had given Hanuman Tila on lease to Hindus, which was renewed in 1723, and the scribe mentioned that he was recording the renewal at the Ram Janmabhoomi. William Finch was a British merchant who was sent to India by the East India Company. He landed here in 1608 and explored many places, including Ayodhya, where he understood that Lord Ram took flesh upon him to see the spectacle of the world. He recorded that Hindus visit Ayodhya and after taking a dip in the Sarayu River, offer prayers in the temple, and a Brahmin makes a note of their names. He mentioned ruins which were believed to be Ram's castle and houses. There was no mention of a mosque anywhere. A Jesuit missionary, Joseph Teufelstheimer, was one of the earliest European geographers who came to India around 1760 and never left. He lived in Awadh for a few years and wrote about Ayodhya and how the Hindus do parikrama of a Vedi that they had constructed. He too wrote about a large number of visitors during Ram Navami and the parikrama of the structure. He recorded that Aurangzeb razed Lord Ram's fort to the ground and made a mosque to deny noble Hindu people an opportunity to practice, while using 14 black pillars from the original fort. From 1822 onwards, all masjid and mandir disputes were recorded in district courts of Faizabad, and as luck would have it, all these papers survived for centuries to reveal the truth of the land. After the fall of the Nawab of Awadh in 1790, a British officer, Patrick Carnegie, recorded that till 1855, Hindus had free access to the temple, but in 1859, British administrators erected a fence to separate the places of worship, with the built structure to be used by the Muslims and outer open courts by the Hindus. The outside part between the structure and the boundary wall had the Vedi or Ram Chabutra, the Sita ki Rasoi, and was open to the Hindus. The Allahabad High Court noted this significant fact. All the disputes between the caretakers of the Ram Mandir and the Babri Masjid were also meticulously recorded and maintained at Faizabad District Court, so very well that these could be presented as evidence. In 1858, the sub-inspector of Awadh filed a report that 25 Nihang Sikhs, led by Nihang Singh Fakir Khalsa, had forcibly entered the mosque and had undertaken Havan and Puja after writing Ram Ram with coal all over the mosque walls. In a few weeks, the sub-inspector was able to evict these brave Nihangs. This evidence conclusively proved to Allahabad High Court that the temple was open to Hindus in full till 1855 and in part later on. At no time was the temple abandoned by the Hindus. In 1877, the Deputy Collector of Faizabad had made a recording with the court that he had created an extra passage to accommodate the large crowds of pilgrims that visit Ram Mandir at the time of Ram Navami. Also, in 1885, a mini commission recorded that just outside the boundary wall of the masjid and the mandir compound was deep depression that was made because of the thousands and thousands of Hindu pilgrims that took parikrama of the entire place. In 1943, Superintendent of Masjid wrote to Sunni Waqf Board that it was very difficult to offer even the Friday namaz, and the same complaint was made again in 1948 because there were such few attendees. All this evidence proved that the temple had significance for Hindus and was always in use, and the mosque was existing as a spoil of Mughal invasion and aggression. One would assume that the left-wing historians would work towards an amicable solution where centuries-old Ram temple at the birthplace of Ram would be returned to the Hindus. Well, no, that didn't happen. Muslim leaders, misled by the wicked left historians, stated that they would forego their claim on Babri Masjid if it was proved that it was made by destroying a temple. In 2003, the Allahabad High Court called in the archaeologists. What did happen? I will share with you in the next video. Jai Shri Ram.